You know, there was a time not very long ago when women's cosmetic and beauty brands would cater very specifically to women. They would arguably go over the top in that regard. Every ad, was about how special and wonderful and unique and beautiful all women are just the way they are, which always did raise questions as to why they would need the products in the first place if they're already special and beautiful just the way they are. But the brands were pandering, and they were pandering in a way that made sense to the customer base that they were trying to reach. That all started to change a few years ago. First was the announcement of the first dude cover girl, James Charles, in 2016. And this prompted a sort of nuclear arms race of wokeness, with other women's brands rushing to find and feature their own cross-dressers. Doesn't make a lot of sense from a practical or business standpoint. These companies are still predominantly selling to females. I mean, really only selling to females. And the point of a model for a fashion or cosmetic brand is to demonstrate what the product looks like. The female customers want to know what the product looks like on a woman, not on a drag queen. But the race was on in any case. Other beauty brands jumped in. Last year, Revlon tweeted a picture of a guy named David Lopez, bearded yet caked in makeup, with this caption: "Can we talk about how beautiful David Lopez's look is? It's all in the details. Color Stay Concealer, Candid Glow Foundation, Color Stay Satin Ink in your go-to 001 and Eyes on You 006. I don't know what most of those words mean, but I do know what beautiful means. And I know that this picture ain't it. David Lopez's look could better be described as ridiculous, grotesque, ugly. It appeals to almost no one on the planet. See, the woke left, they applaud this stuff in principle, but few of them actually find it attractive because it's not about being attractive or beautiful anyway. The fashion news site Nylon profiled Lopez a few months ago and applauded him for, quote, demystifying and degenderizing the beauty space. Yes, degenderizing. That may be one of the more annoying fake words we've heard in recent years, but the greater point is that this is a campaign to take femininity away from women, to degenderize it. The point was driven home a few days ago with the launch of a new podcast hosted by Ulta, which is the beauty brand that owns hundreds of salons all over the country. In an episode titled The Beauty of Girlhood, posted to Ulta Beauty's Twitter page, the degenderizing David Lopez interviews quote-unquote trans woman, big scare quotes around that, Dylan Mulvaney. Now, you may recognize that name because Mulvaney has been all over the place recently, the media's latest and greatest trans mascot. Most recently, we talked about he was a featured speaker at the Forbes Women's Summit. And he came to prominence due to a TikTok series called Days of Girlhood, which documents his, quote, transition from man to girl. Not man to woman, you may note, but man to girl specifically. He identifies, this is a grown man who identifies not just as a woman, but as a girl. This transition, as the videos document on his TikTok page, mostly consists of him prancing around while doing an exaggerated, over-the-top impression of femininity. You may recall this particularly degrading example. Here it is again.
Day 66, being a girl, and today I'm in nature. Trees, I love them. Water, lakes, I love them. Heels, they're my hiking heels. I love them. Okay, come on. Bridges, love them. Coconut water, love it. Not an ad, just love it. Wind turbine, love it. Meadows, love them. I'm scared of getting Lyme disease. Love ya.
You know, I've been hiking in the woods with my wife many times. She does not wear high heels and spandex for the occasion. In fact, she wouldn't wear that combination for any occasion, least of all a stroll through nature. That's because my wife is an actual woman, like a real one. Dylan Mulvaney has transitioned not into a woman, but into a cartoon. And yet corporate brands and the media have made him into a spokesman for womanhood, which leads to this podcast in which two males discuss the beauty of girlhood. And that is where this is said. Listen.
Now I know I can find love. I know I can still be a performer. I know that I can have a family. I want to be a mom one day. And I absolutely can. And that's why the narrative still has a long way to go, because when I was grieving Boy Dylan, I didn't know those things were even accessible to me.
A mom one day, he says. That's all it takes. Put on some lipstick and stick a red bow in your hair, and suddenly the rules of biology no longer obtain. You could be a mom, or so he thinks. Yet, unfortunately for Dylan, if he ever wakes up to find his belly distended, it's not going to be a human child in there. It might be, maybe he contracted a parasite from some bad sushi, or else maybe he's about to reenact that scene from Alien. But whatever condition afflicts him, we can be sure that the maternal experience will always elude his grasp. Does it make sense that the same company who controls half of online retail also passively eavesdrops on your private conversations at home? Or that a single company controls 90% of internet searches, runs your email service, and gets to track everything you do on your smartphone? Big tech is more powerful than most countries are, and they profit by exploiting your personal data. It's time to put a layer of protection between your online activity and big tech. And that's why I use ExpressVPN. Think about how much of your life is on the internet. Sadly, every site you visit, every video you watch, every message you send gets tracked and data mined. But when you run ExpressVPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, something big tech can use to personally identify you. So ExpressVPN makes your activity harder to trace and harder to sell to advertisers, giving you privacy that you have a right to. ExpressVPN also encrypts 100% of your internet data to keep you safe from hackers and eavesdroppers on your network. What I like most about ExpressVPN is how easy it is to use. Just download the app on your phone or computer, tap one button, and you're protected. It's simple as that. And ExpressVPN does all this without slowing your connection. That's why it's rated the #1 VPN service by TechRadar, The Verge, and countless others. So stop handing over your personal data to the big tech monopoly who mines your activity and sells your information. Protect yourself with VPN I trust to keep me safe online. Visit expressvpn.com/MattWalshShow to get 3 extra months for free. expressvpn.com/MattWalshShow. expressvpn.com/MattWalshShow. Now, this discussion about girlhood continues for almost an hour with two men, again, discussing the beauty of girlhood, not womanhood, girlhood. I'm not going to subject you to much more of it, but I did find this portion interesting where the two men give their thoughts about the nature and definition of beauty. Listen.
The beauty really it's the potential. I don't think beauty for me is like an end goal or like a one thing, a one look or a one specific moment. It's the ever-changing potential to see myself in a light that makes me really happy.
Yeah. That's so special. And it's one of the many reasons I love you and adore you and what you do.
Thank you.
And why people, I think, relate to you, because there's this idea and this concept that we as queer people, we are the stewards of change of this new world, because we are willing to live our life joyfully through adversity and willing to love ourselves despite the world telling us we shouldn't.
There are certainly many criticisms we can level against these two, but we cannot accuse them of having a low self-image. That's one thing we can't say. That is not a problem often evident on the LGBT left, where they tend to carry around such massive and hefty egos that you wonder how they manage to walk upright or fit through door frames. We note, as always, that the self is put at the center here. Dylan defines beauty as the ever-changing potential to see myself in a light that makes me happy. Now, that's wordier than it needs to be. These people are allergic to speaking clearly, but the point is that beauty is simply whatever makes him good. Is also whatever makes him feel good. Womanhood is whatever makes him feel good. Really, all of life, every part of life is defined by its ability to make him feel good about himself. Everything really has the same definition and no definition at all at the same time. This is not just nonsensical, but incredibly demeaning and offensive. There is no